Hi guys, the Benidorm enthusiast here with Benidorm Stuff YouTube channel. I'm here on Levante Beach and today's video is a news update. We've had lots of important announcements made in the last few days affecting travel to your favourite resort, Benidorm. We've had some good news and some not so good, so I'll be going through it all with you today. And what better way to do it than whilst walking down at the gorgeous Levante Beach. So here we are, take a look at this. It's just fabulous down here right now. So busy, lots of people out enjoying the weather, which is amazing at the moment. It's been very hot the last few days. The summer heat has well and truly kicked in. I've actually been hiding from the sun for a couple of days as the humidity has been a little uncomfortable. And my tan is already fading, but I'm not hiding today. 32 degrees, but there's a thin layer of cloud taking the kick out of the sun and a lovely breeze. It's very, very pleasant indeed. We are having a heat wave in Spain at the moment. Temperatures inland are soaring. There are a few areas around here on weather watch for extreme temperatures in the highs 40s and even hitting 50 in some places. Luckily, we won't experience those kind of temperatures here on the coast. Oh my God, I would melt. 30 degrees is hot enough for me. Perfect beach weather. I would imagine a lot will be coming to the coast from those scorching inland areas to cool off this weekend. And why not? With all this to take advantage of. It really is just gorgeous down here. So on to the news. First major announcement was from the Spanish government over a week ago now about changes to entry requirements for travellers from the UK. There was a lot of confusion surrounding this when it was first announced, but I think we've sussed it out now. If you're a UK resident aged 12 or over, travelling to Spain for reasons of tourism, you must now present one of the following. Either proof of vaccination. You must have completed the vaccination schedule, i.e. had both jabs at least 14 days before arriving in Spain. The NHS app can be used to prove your vaccination status, or the paper certificate which you can request from the NHS. If you're not fully vaccinated, you must present a negative COVID test. PCR, LAMP or TMA tests are accepted and must be done within 48 hours of arriving in Spain. Antigen Test is not currently accepted for UK residents entering for tourism. There are some exceptions where an antigen test is accepted. For EU citizens and residents and those travelling for one of the accepted essential reasons. I'm not going to go through them now as they won't apply for most of you watching this video. But we've provided a link in the video description where you can check if you think this may be relevant to you. Next big news. Quarantine rules when returning from amber countries to England are to be relaxed. From July 19th, if you're fully vaccinated UK resident who's been vaccinated through the NHS in the UK, you won't have to isolate on return from an amber country to England. It is only confirmed for England at the moment, but hopefully the rest of the UK will follow. This is massive for us here. It will give so many more people the option to travel. Cost of testing involved is still a factor, of course. But for most, it has been the quarantine on return that has made it impossible for people to holiday in Spain. Another massive change to UK policy is that the FCDO no longer advises against all but essential travel to Spain. This has been a huge factor for people getting adequate travel insurance. If you travel against Foreign Office advice, it can cause problems with insurance. So the fact that they've now changed their advice, they don't advise against travel, means your insurance policies should still be valid. Of course, I recommend anyone considering travel to check with your insurers beforehand. Make sure you're covered. Better to be safe than sorry. So yeah, great news there. Fantastic news, in fact, for us here and for you guys wanting to come over. Definitely a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, here in Spain, we have had to take a step backwards. Numbers are rising and restrictions are being tightened to tackle the rise. Over the last week or so, we have had a significant rise in cases. Not specifically in Benidorm, I must add, but in our region, that is the Valencia region, the numbers have soared. We've gone from being the best region in Spain for months with an incidence rate of around 50 per 100,000 to one of the regions now considered at risk, with numbers hovering around the national average for Spain at 260 per 100,000. The majority of contagions are amongst younger people. A lot of the spread has been attributed to the massive outbreak they had in Majorca at the beginning of this month. Not sure how much you've heard about this in the UK news. A lot of students travelled to Majorca from all different parts of Spain for their end of year celebrations. There were some events that took place that shouldn't have, and a major outbreak of infections occurred. Hundreds of students were kept in isolation in hotels once it was realised. However, some had already returned to their home regions, mainland Spain, the closest of which is our region, and from there the contagions have spread like wildfire basically. The positives stemming from this macrobrote, as it's called in Spain, are in the thousands. Most of the positives are in the under 30 age group, and thankfully hospitalisations and deaths still remain low. When you look back to when we had similarly high infections rates previously, the health services were under extreme pressure. That isn't the case now. Whilst there has been a slight rise in hospitalisations, it's nothing in comparison. In that respect, the vaccine programme seems to be working. The most vulnerable are being protected. A very high majority of the older generation are fully vaccinated, but it's the under 40s that aren't there yet, and that's cause for concern. So in response, the Valencia government have tightened restrictions in our region. These are the changes that are in place from Saturday 10th of July for at least 2 weeks. Closure of nightlife. Nightclubs and night venues can no longer operate as such. They can remain open, but they must work within the guidelines set for regular bars and cafes. The closing time for bars, cafes and restaurants and now nightlife venues has been brought forward. Last orders is now midnight and they must be closed by 12:30. It's a maximum of 10 people per table, outside, and 6 inside. The sale of alcohol is banned in shops and supermarkets from 8 p.m. This is to discourage youngsters from gathering in groups to drink on the street through the night, a practice commonly known as botellón here in Spain. And there will also be big fines for those who engage in this sort of activity. The capacity of large organised events has been reduced from 4,000 to 3,000 outdoors and from 3,000 to 2,000 indoors. No changes to mask regulations. It is still recommended to wear a mask as much as possible, but it's not mandatory to wear it in the street, as long as you can guarantee 1.5 metres social distance. There have also been some even harsher restrictions requested by the Valencian government. But since they affect fundamental rights, they need the backing of the courts to enforce them. The first is to limit how many people are allowed to meet in social gatherings. The limit will be 10 people if passed by the courts. And the toughest request is the reintroduction of the curfew to limit mobility at night between the hours of 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. If passed by the courts, this will only affect the highest risk areas, which at the moment are concentrated around the city of Valencia, where some districts are in the extreme risk category. It may well not affect Benidorm at all. That will depend on our numbers here at the time it's implemented, if in fact it is passed by the courts. We'll keep you updated on this in the next couple of days. As soon as we get confirmation, either way, we'll put it on our Facebook page. So make sure you're following us at the Benidorm Enthusiast. That's about it from me today, guys. Not the most promising report, I'm afraid, but we always do our best to be open and honest about the situation here and bring you the correct information as much as we possibly can. Please remember, we don't work for the government, we don't work for the tourist board. We do our best to keep you in the loop, but it can be extremely difficult, stressful and frustrating with the constantly changing situation. So go easy on us. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed a look at the Levante Beach in all its glory. Even if the news isn't exactly what we all want to hear right now. Make sure you subscribed, like and share the video and leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. Also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at the Benidorm Enthusiast. Stay positive and stay safe.